Did you know that the predicted amount of deaths for the coronavirus have been greatly reduced? A lot of people don't know this, and they're actually giving me a lot of backlash for pointing it out. But this guy, Neil Furgeson, he is an epidemiologist over there in the UK area. He's one of the main guys. He's the one that came up with the model that he used to predict 500,000 deaths over there in the UK. And he used his prediction to persuade the government into lockdown and social distancing. This is his Twitter profile. Let's look at some of his tweets. He said, "I'm conscious that lots of people would like to see and run the pandemic simulation code we are using to model control measures against COVID-19. To explain the background, I wrote the code, thousands of lines of undocumented C, 13 plus years ago, to model flu pandemics." So he basically wrote this and used it for the H1N1 scare, and he was very, very off with his prediction with that. But that didn't stop people from believing him this time. He's basically like Chicken Little, telling everyone the sky is falling, and they believed him again this time. Now, of course, he is still, standing by his word, but I'll show you here in a second. Our misleaders here in the U.S. aren't even buying that, and they're not going with it because they didn't implement total lockdown until recently. He's revised his number from 500,000 to 20,000, and the policies that they implemented due to his model certainly didn't make that much of a difference. A roughly 24 times difference. Also, I thought it was interesting that he made post over here mentioned that he was sick. Basically, he has coronavirus. I mean, I just find that a little odd. I mean, how many people do you know with it? And there's all these celebrities and the main people, a lot of these key figures are getting it. But to summarize, this guy has a 13-year-old model. I guess it's just some computer software that he wrote 13 years ago, and used that to make these predictions. And it's somewhat secret, it's proprietary. He's not allowing people to see it. Normally, other people could look over it, see if he made any mistakes anywhere. It's kind of like the peer review process of the scientific method. And so basically this is just one guy who was wrong in the past making this prediction, and then other world governments were following the lead. Let's go and look now that we have more data in. Let's see what our misleaders are saying here in the U.S.
I'm sure many of you saw the recent report out of the UK about them adjusting completely their needs. This is really quite important. If you remember, that was the report that said there would be 500,000 deaths in the UK and 2.2 million deaths in the United States. They've adjusted that number in the UK to 20,000. So 500,000 to 20,000. We're looking into this in great detail to understand that adjustment. The predictions of the models don't match the reality on the ground in either China, South Korea, or Italy. We are about 5 times the size of Italy. So if we were Italy and you did all those divisions, Italy should have close to 400,000 deaths. They're not close to achieving that.
One thing to keep in mind when you hear that their prediction was reduced from 500,000 deaths down to 20,000 deaths is that even the deaths that they are reporting aren't even from coronaviruses. There's a post on the Telegraph that does a good job outlining this whole thing for you. And basically what it says is that, first of all, the people are there. They got the second oldest population worldwide. But also, if you notice right here, it says, quote, "The way in which we code deaths in our country is very generous in the sense that all the people who die in hospitals with the coronavirus are deemed to be dying of the coronavirus." All right? And then you go down here and you come and you see it says, "On reevaluation by the National Institute of Health, only 12% of death certificates have shown a direct causality from coronavirus." 12%. So what that means is not only, Italy is a big portion of the deaths over there in Europe. And, I don't know if this is going on in every country over there, but I know it's going on in the U.S. now. And a few days ago, Italy had over 10,000 reported deaths, but that would take it from 10,000 to about 1,000. So just that right there shows that there's not nearly as many people dying from the coronavirus as they say. Now let me show you one more paper. This one is coming from the U.S. Dr. Fauci, which is one of the main, everyone says he's a leading expert on the topic. So let's see what he has to say in this paper that was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. Right here it says, "On the basis of a case definition requiring a diagnosis of pneumonia, the currently reported case fatality rate is approximately 2%. It's pretty high." He then goes on to say, "If one assumes that the number of asymptomatic or minimally symptomatic cases is several times as high as the number of reported cases, the case fatality rate may be considerably less than 1%. So that means it is a lot less deadly than pneumonia." And then he says, "This suggests that the overall clinical consequences of COVID-19 may ultimately be more akin to those of severe seasonal influenza, which is the flu." And then in parentheses it says, "which has a case fatality rate of approximately 0.1%.
Remember, one of the top scientists is Dr. Shukarat Bhakti, MD. He's a microbiologist, former professor at Johannes Gutenberg University in Mainz, former head of the Institute for Medical Microbiology and Hygiene, one of the most cited research scientists in German history. Look what he went on to say. Open letter from Professor Shukarat Bhakti to German Chancellor Dr. Angela Merkel. He says, "The internationally recognized International Journal of Antimicrobial Agents will soon publish a paper that addresses exactly this question. Preliminary results of the study can already be seen today and lead to the conclusion that the new virus is not different from traditional coronaviruses in terms of dangerousness." The authors expressed this in the title of their paper, SARS-CoV-2, Fear versus Data. He goes on to say, "At the same time, the mistake is being made worldwide to report virus-related deaths as soon as it is established that the virus was present at the time of death, regardless of other factors. This violates a basic principle of infectiology." I think this is a translation from German. There's probably a better word for that. "Only when it is certain that an agent has played a significant role in the disease or death may a diagnosis be made." And lastly, look at this, his question. Has Germany simply followed this trend of a COVID-19 general suspicion? And is it intended to continue this categorization uncritically as in other countries? How then is a distinction to be made between genuine corona-related deaths and accidental virus presence at the time of death?
So it begs the question, why are they locking down the whole world over something that's about as dangerous as the flu? Is there another reason? Are there ulterior motives? I think so, but I'll let you decide. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Make sure to subscribe for my future videos, as I'll go much more into depth into all this in future videos, as well as I have about a dozen other videos I've already made on the topic. But don't fear the coronavirus, guys. I think the government's response, you know, it's giving itself all this power and taking away all of our rights. I think that will be far more detrimental than the virus, and the impact that the government has will also last longer than this virus. So that is what we need to be concerned about. Of course, take your supplements, take care of your health, be smart, avoid, you know, getting sick as much as you can. And this is just common advice that you should always be taking. But this is not a common reaction for anything that's even close to being as dangerous as what it is. So something is not right about this, and this is exactly what the conspiracy theorists have been saying for well over a decade now, and it looks like it's playing out exactly as we predicted. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope to see you in a future video. Together we will all change the world.